just a hack. He's just an absolute hack. And he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to another episode of the Believe in FCS Football podcast. I'm Joe DeLeone, joined by my. What do you give me that look for?
Just a little hotter, just a little more.
I'm too hot.
No, you were just a hair quiet.
Oh. Well, because I lowered you. I lowered the gain. Okay, I'm gonna start over. Why does this stupid fucking microphone has like an auto gain where it like starts picking up? The show already started. FCS Football podcast. Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson, two former Rhode Island football players talking about FCS football. This auto gain thing is going to be the death of me. Sean, how was your Halloween? Did you have a nice Halloween weekend?
Yeah, I had a really nice Halloween weekend. It was, it was all right. I stayed at home, good amount, played some Call of Duty, and then went to a party on Saturday, which was kind of fun. But I don't know. I got no spirit. I have zero spirit. I don't care.
Why?
I don't care if we get trick-or-treaters. I don't know.
Oh, you don't care about Halloween? Is that what it is?
I'm not big on Halloween. I'm just not. I was never big on Halloween in college. Not big on it really now. And then I can't figure out, and I'm just in a sour mood. I can't figure out if it's my house's fire alarm beep or someone next door on my level that has a beep, because it's so faint that I don't think it's in my house. But it's maybe one of my walls to the left or right's got a little chirp going.
So some asshat won't change their alarm. It's probably not yours.
It just started. Oh no, I would have known if it was ours.
Yeah. That's rough. That's tough. How was the mechanic costume? How did that?
It went
was
over
there any
good,
success with that?
No, it was a good. I think it was, like I said, I'm gonna wear that jumpsuit, that Dickies jumpsuit, every year for Halloween going forward. That's what.
Are you gonna try and do like a spin off of it every year, or are you just gonna go as a mechanic every year? So what's next year's gonna be?
Plumber, electrician. I'll get a patch. I could go as a farmer every time. All I need is a hat and then a different type of tattoo. I went with the non-permanent tattoo, what is it, temporary, snake under the ear, which kind of put the whole thing together. I wore a dirty hat, I wore my big boots, a little snake tattoo, and then we were rolling.
By like year 20 you'll be getting far more oddly specific with the occupations, but it'll just be manual labor, blue collar Sean.
I think I'm gonna go with an iron-on patch every year and just change the name.
I think that's a great idea. It's a good bet.
Next year I'll be Edward.
Wait, what were you this year?
No, I didn't have one. I got strictly creative.
I thought you went as Jasper. I thought that was the name that you.
I did not go as Jasper.
Okay, I thought that was the name that you went with. Sean, I'm not that into Halloween, but I gotta say my last second costume idea, actually, I was pretty juiced up about it because like it was so stupid. But all I did is I got my hair cut and I put the turtleneck on and the chain and the glasses. And so many people at this thing I went to, at least 6 or 7 people, all guys. There was not a single girl.
Sure.
There was one. Came up to me and was like, oh, Joe Shiesty, Joe Burrow. Like, I felt great by the end of the night. Even though I was hammered, I felt great by the end of the night.
I forgot you did that. I think
Come on, that's a great costume. That's unique. No one else had anything like that. Every other loser was, it was pirate themed too. And, like my idiot buddy Joe, it looked like a total slut wearing a pirate costume and no shirt. No, he looked. I'll send you a picture of what he looked like. He was not a respectable human being the way that he was dressed. Are you pulling up the picture?
Yeah, everyone is deciding to call me and walk up my stairs. I'm having a Joe moment right now.
You're having a Joe moment?
I am having a Joe moment. I'm going to have
sensory
to
overload meltdown moment.
Yeah. I'm about to have an overload because I'm trying to process the fact that you went as Joe Burrow. Yes. Irritating. You did better than I thought you were going to do.
Yeah.
Because you actually kind of had it.
No, I was like for my dumpy ass, I think I looked like him.
Okay, well, Joe Burrow's not shredded. You didn't.
Yeah, but
I'm
didn't
look
fat.
like Jalen Hurts.
Round. Right.
I didn't look like Jalen Hurts.
My point is that I'm round and Joe Burrow's 6'2" and he's lean, so it's like there's obvious differences. But Sean, today we've got a lot to talk about. That's the FCS football. We have 2 really important games that impact the standings that we're going to get to. Actually, and then we have we've got one game that went to overtime that was a mess, and that impacts who's going to come out of the Patriot League. And then we also have an update for the NEC, which is bizarre that we were talking about the NEC on the show, which we never do. Before we get to that, though, Sean, do you want to just share with our listeners stuff about betting?
Yeah, I can do that. The silliest text messages you wouldn't even believe. Basketball is back, and we'll focus on basketball during this this ad read. You know what? Screw that. We're taping it on Monday. Joe, Browns or Bengals? What do you like tonight?
Bengals. The Browns
Bengals.
stink, man. The Browns stink
stink.
without Deshaun.
They stink, and then they don't know what to do with either of their very good running backs and their good offensive line, which is so like it trips me out because how do you not take more advantage of having Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb?
Right.
I don't get it.
And apparently they're just going to trade him. So
yeah, or they're trying to trade Hunt. He could be a 1 on a lot of teams. I don't know why you can't get it done. Whatever. Philly will find a way. He Kareem Hunt to Philly is my guess. Howie Roseman's on a tear. Whatever. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all of your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, or even golf. I actually won money on the Phillies in game 1, didn't bet in game 2. Head to betonline.ag to receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hard for me to root for Philly when their manager looks like a ghoul.
Yeah, the Nationals
Rob Thompson
looks great at the World Series.
First of all, Davey Martinez looks like a dude.
I don't even know who it is. I don't even care. I don't care.
You don't even know who the Phillies manager is.
It's Rob Thompson. I know who Rob Thompson is. I know that they fired Joe.
You didn't know that before. You didn't know that before the World Series.
Stop. Eat shit. Yes,
whoa.
It's a storyline. I work in sports. It's a storyline. Of course, I know who Rob Thompson is, man. He's the interim manager who brought them.
You didn't know as a fan, though, and that's how I know you're a fraud.
Okay, let's talk about the FCS.
Response. Way to go back and forth. This is Stephen A. and Bayless right now. Back at just the heavy hitters.
Honestly, by the way, I have to say before we get in this, and I keep thinking about this. So that Sam Ellinger video I posted last week got like a really negative response, and I just got shit on.
Sure.
And Ryan comments under it, like, you're a young Skip Bayless. And I honestly was thinking about that. That's actually kind of a compliment for me. Like, is that not like that? I think that's a more realistic aspiration for me to
You don't do real journalism. At least Skip Bayless did. At least he covered the Cowboys for a little bit.
Yeah.
You're not a real journalist.
The journalism, no. But we're talking about like the host style where everybody fucking hates you. I think that fits me perfectly. That's the perfect description.
I hate you.
By the way, we got killed for our Kansas State. Actually, I got killed for our Kansas State video. There was it got a lot of views, and it was not because it was accurate and quality information.
Somebody knows what they're talking about for K-State. Someone doesn't.
Yeah, I didn't. Thanks for telling me that Adrian Martinez didn't play. Thanks for correcting me. You didn't know that either.
I didn't know he was going to be out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I didn't.
Whatever.
Okay.
I didn't. Also, how nobody else on planet Earth was going to predict a 48-0 blowout. Oklahoma State getting blanked. I'm sure. All of them could go screw.
Yeah, everyone's taking a victory lap. I admitted I was wrong on the live stream though. Holy Cross beat Fordham though, Sean, in a game that we thought that Tim Damarat and his very handsome mustache were going
great
to
jawline.
Great jawline. We thought that they were going to beat Holy Cross, and Holy Cross wins in overtime, 53-52. It comes off of a decision to go for 2 in a last-ditch effort to win the football game. It was a very aggressive play call by Holy Cross in that decision, but the winner of the Matt Sluka Tim Damarat duel ends up being Holy Cross. It ends up going to Sluka. I don't think that this, Sean, necessarily impacts the Patriot League for if we're only going to get one team or not. I fully feel that we're still both these teams deserve to be a part of the playoff field. And when I was on the FCS Fan Nation show, yesterday, we were asking about this, and like I don't see a reason why not to include Fordham in the playoff field. Like they're better than the freaking WAC Sun teams.
Are you going to put in also the 5th best CIA team that's going to get beat in the first round?
Right.
I'd rather have honest to God, Sluka and Demorat, spoiler alert, are both in fat stats. They both had insane games in this.
Yeah, apparently
in
the
this
whole
league.
FCS made fat stats this week.
Dude, I actually trimmed it down. You wouldn't believe it. I nobody in the FCS is playing defense anywhere. Nobody anywhere. Maybe in the IVs because they just don't have offense. All right, IVs it's either 31-10 or it's 14-10. Nobody. There's no matchups that get over 10 points.
Right.
But other than that, everyone's just scoring all over the place. I guess the defenders are already planning their Thanksgiving plans.
maybe
have the
maybe
golf
all the
bag
offense
set
are
up
playing
as a-
offense.
My guys don't have their golf bags set up outside their lockers. I know a bunch of teams that already have that going on. Stupid Joe
What is that a
Judge.
reference to? Oh,
Remember
oh.
Joe Judge saying that?
I don't. That man's a caricature of just like dipshit special teams coordinators. But besides the point, though, you agree that both these teams need to be in the playoff field.
Look, they both have good quarterbacks, and the FCS playoffs need good quarterbacks to play in them. They do. It makes the game better. If you have guys that can lead their team down the field, make big throws, it's kind of better than having a team that has a +2 turnover margin or a plus. It's not a metric that you could use to dictate best team, but it's a way you can dictate best football. If that makes any sense, right?
No, it does, and
think,
I think that both these guys are really good starting quarterbacks, and it's a really good point. They're two of the best in the FCS, and I don't think Sluka gets enough love on the show or in general in the national spotlight. The guy's really good.
You seem to have a little bit of a history with them.
I hate Holy Cross, and this is just such a let's keep moving them up in the rankings. I still don't think either of these teams win a game in the playoff, but they deserve to be in the playoff, if that makes any sense. This is why too many teams in the playoff is sometimes bad. This is good proof.
I like our 24.
Yeah, I do too. But the point is that the bigger the playoff field, you end up having the best teams from the worst conferences show up and get their ass beat. And I'm willing to bet that Holy Cross shows up and gets their ass beat against whoever they play. I'm putting it on
Very possible.
Unless they get handed the perfect matchup the first round, they're going to run the table. They're going to get their asses ran all over.
Yeah. They will not run the
Sacramento State, Sean, beat Idaho 31-28. So yes, they did. Their resurgence, or not even resurgence, their surge is continuing for Sacramento State and the Hornets. I think that's their mascot. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole again.
I think it is. I think you did get the Hornets.
It is. No, Portland State's the Vikings. Sacramento. Yeah, we don't know anything about FCS football apparently. Regardless, Sacramento State, I think, has reached that point where they're really ascending into likely being one of the top seeds for the playoff field. But the bigger point here, because it's less telling about Sacramento State in my eyes, and more telling of Idaho that they played Sacramento State this close. They're not going to be a seeded team, but they need to be a lock for the playoff field.
They can be, and they should be, but we should not be crediting Idaho for losing, given how strong Idaho should have been. Because Idaho fans, alike the South Dakota State fans, never cool with a loss, is what I'm saying. I don't think that the fans of this team feel validated knowing they lost to such a good Sacramento State team. You and I could feel that way and say, well, we look at it, okay, it's very good. I'm not down on like neither of us after this game are down on Idaho, but the fans are down because they wanted to be up even more. That's the painful part of being a fan. You get a taste, you just want to keep going up.
Yeah, and I hate that shit. The fans who get, and I'm one of them, but it's like when you get upset when your team loses a close game, and it's like, we stink, or we should have done this, this, and this. But you're an Idaho team that is completely turning itself around under Coach Eck.
No kidding.
To have this success this early under Coach Eck is a testament to how good of a head coach he is and to the potential future of this Vandal program. It kind of stems from the college football playoff at the FBS level argument that always gets brought up. Instead of quality wins, there tends to be more of a focus on quality losses. And that's going to be the case here for Idaho. They should be one of the they should get a premier matchup. I don't think they're going to be seeded, but they should get a premier matchup based on their record right now and the success that they've had.
They should, and Idaho should not hang their hats because this Sacramento State rushing attack is lethal. It is. All right. Cameron Scatabo went for 17 carries, 134. Asher O'Hara, 26 carries, 129, and a touchdown. Those are two premier rushers in the FCS.
Yeah.
They just are, both of them. You can't stop both of them. You could try. You could try as hard as you can, but eventually something's going to give.
So the
next time,
only
if you
law,
yeah.
No. Go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
I had nothing.
Your internet stinks, by the way. Go ahead, continue.
I'm sure it's mine and not yours.
It's definitely not mine. This router right here pumps out a gig a second, so it's definitely not me.
Before we even started taping, you were saying my internet's going out. My internet's this is great. This is great. So don't even try to pin it on me without you knowing.
Continue your point. You probably get 30 megabytes. You probably get 30 megabytes a second.
Don't you worry. What are you bite watching me?
No. Don't pocket watch my internet. Go.
No, you're pocket watching my internet.
Go check the recordings and tell me you're not lagging every episode, man. And I have been nice enough not to say something because I don't want to be a dick.
What do you want me to do about it?
Upgrade your internet. It's like
I don't own this house.
You can't pay for faster internet. I don't own my apartment, but I pay. Who pays the internet bill?
Not us. We pay for utilities. It's all bunched together.
Oh, your landlord's a dipshit then. They suck.
They're cool and they're nice.
Oh, well, they don't apparently like you enough to give you good internet.
Good enough.
Okay. What were you saying before I rudely interrupted?
Don't know. I don't know. You sidetracked me.
What I was going to say. It's because you responded to me on like a 3-second delay. That's what
I'm sure it's a 3. How come I can hear you in my time?
It's not a 3-second delay. It's like a 1-second delay.
It's not a 1-second delay. I hear you at the same. I hear you at the same time that you hear me. You want to clap on 3? 3, 2, 1, clap. You purposely delayed. You purposely delayed.
No. Stop it. You clap late anyways. Idaho. My point was, Sean, their only losses this year are to. Wait, did they play? No. So they played Indiana and Washington State, which those are two massive FBS games, and they lost both of those. And they actually played Indiana kind of close and Washington State kind of close. Now the remaining schedule, after all those nice games that they've played and that signature win that they have against Montana, they have a pretty light schedule. They play Eastern Washington, UC Davis is going to be a test, and then Idaho State. They're going to finish with 2 losses. There's no reason they shouldn't.
Yeah, but we know it's a big sky. They're going to lose to one of those games. They'll close it out with 2 wins, and they'll still make the playoffs. They will. Idaho's good, and they've set themselves up this year to continue. And then that win versus Montana just keeps on looking better because you caught Montana while they were still hot, while they were still pretty solid, and now you're kind of sitting pretty. You're in the captain's chair where you want to be. So Idaho fans should be somewhat confident going into the playoffs.
Yeah, they definitely should be. And speaking of a team that is now confident heading into the playoffs, I was a little perplexed by this because it just kind of showed up in my feed. And I'm like, what? How? Because I wasn't paying attention to the NEC because who gives a shit about the NEC? But St. Francis earned a playoff spot and a bid to win the NEC. They outright already won the conference, and it was week 9. That's pretty lame. That's really, really fucking lame that happened. And I'm sure that St. Francis is going to be they're going to be a really competitive team that's going to, not get boat raced by, probably by like an Idaho or a Holy Cross. This conference stinks.
And the NEC is not very good.
No.
But St. Francis has a pretty good player that will be appearing on Fat Stats in a couple.
Is that all you have to throw?
You think I give a shit about the NEC? You think I want to analyze it and break down St. Francis?
Are we now the biggest NEC haters? Is that what this is now?
I'm not a hater. I'm NEC agnostic. That's what I am.
You sound a little more of a hater than you are agnostic. Last thing that I want to get to, Sean.
Whoa, falls to Weber.
Yeah, I'm hate watching you. I'm watching a lot of things.
Yeah, obviously.
Montana loses to Weber 24-21. Their losing streak continues. Apparently, we're dealing with some injuries, which we were aware of coming into this game. But Patrick O'Connell got knocked out of the game. I don't know the form
I
of
got a
the
pretty
injury,
bad
but
bruise.
it was a pretty bad bruise.
I got a pretty bad bruise. You said we were dealing with injuries.
You stink. You're the worst co-host that anyone could have. It's just the worst.
Just power through it. I say stupid things. Just that nothing should ever be of impact that I say.
All right.
You just power through whatever I'm saying.
So the conversation that's being brought up, one with Montana, is it time for Coach Hawk to be done as the head coach at Montana? But to keep things relevant to just now, I don't think that they're making the playoff with 3 losses. I just don't. I think that it's highly unlikely, and they are going to need to beat Montana State for them to get in. And they don't look like a team capable of beating Montana State the way that they've played. And I understand, again, injuries at quarterback, injuries on defense. It's hard. It's really hard to play football games and finish football games when you're missing those guys. But I'm still not bought in on this offense. It's hard to watch.
Yeah, it's been a tough season for the Grizz, for sure. They beat Northwestern State, stomped them out, beat South Dakota, beat Indiana State, beat Portland State, start 4-0. You're doing good. And then you're just slipping. It's a slippery slope when you start playing some of these really legit teams. Lost to Idaho, lost to Sac State, lost to Weber. And now they're sitting 6th place in the Big Sky. Are we letting 6 teams from the Big Sky into the playoffs?
It's possible, and then there's also the possibility that there's 6 coming from the CAA.
That's impossible. Okay, you basically, if you're Montana, you need UC Davis. You need some help because if you're letting 6 in there, CAA is not getting 6. Come on. Montana needs to win out. UC Davis needs to lose out. And then you can maybe get 5 to sneak in there. But you're not booting Idaho, Weber, Montana State, or Sac State as of right now. You're just not.
No.
If they all start losing, it just becomes a mess. It becomes a mess. But right now, Montana's not getting in on my bracket. They're not, because I'm a rational person. And for 24 teams, I can't have half of them coming from 2 conferences.
And also, not to mention the fact that I feel like the CAA teams have been a little bit more balanced. Like, I'd rather have a New Hampshire or a Villanova over a Montana. I know that that's a take that not everyone's going to really like, but Montana has not looked good.
I don't even
they
know
have
if I
not
like
looked
that.
good. You don't like that?
I don't know. It's UNH.
Nah.
It's a down Villanova team.
So you're just being a hater.
Hey.
Can we? Wait,
how come when I have a take, it becomes me hating and not just a take from Sean that's astute and poignant?
It's a good.
I want the same access as you. I want the same access as you. You want me to start? You want me to start doing the same amount of work as you and start being as involved? I want all the same access.
Okay, I'll get you the login. I'll get you all the log. I'll get you all the login.
I'll start changing your handle. Don't worry. I'll get creative.
Wait, let me. Wait.
What?
I'll fix it. I just have to fix it. There we go. All right, Sean. Fat stats.
You playing with me right now? You want to keep on playing around?
Fat stats. We've got 45 guys that made fat stats this week.
Okay,
I will not interrupt
45.
you this time.
All right. Well, think about who you're going to have as your winner beforehand, or while I'm reading through this, so it's not. Let me check, because I know you love doing that.
Yeah.
All right. Can I go?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, let me start it off. Central Connecticut State running back Nazir Smith, 31 rushes, 174 yards, 3 touchdowns, over 150 and 3 touchdowns. I know a lot of dudes scored 2 touchdowns running the rock, and a lot of them had 150 yards. So if you're like, oh, Sean, you're not being fair and including everybody, my guy didn't make it. I had to make some cuts this week. I had to. All right, so this is the cuts that are being made. So try to be a little sympathetic. I go through every game. LIU wide receiver Devon Wells, 7 catches, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm sorry, Joe. How am I cutting a guy that's averaging, what is that? 20 yards a catch?
That's an okay performance.
You suck. Duquesne quarterback Joe Mishler.
This next one's kind of fake. Sorry, I can't believe I've already you opened me up to talk to you, and I'm cutting you off already. Go. I'm not saying anything.
35 for 50, 414 passing yards, 5 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown. He did have 3 interceptions, though. How was that fake?
3 interceptions?
It's a fat interception total.
All right, continue.
St. Francis quarterback Cole Doyle. Oh, work on that name. 22 for 28, 264 yards, 5 touchdowns, 4 carries, 56 rushing yards, and a rush touchdown. Also 6 total touchdowns for Mr. Cole Doyle. Ooh. And then over 300 total scrimmage yards. I know, dude. It's getting better.
Like fingernails on a chalkboard.
Cole Doyle. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a nice guy. He has a super strong arm, and he can get 6 touchdowns in a game, which I could never do. I understand. All right. So St. Francis, calm down. Holy Cross quarterback Matthew Sluka, 15 for 23 through the air, 291 yards, and 4 passing touchdowns. He also had 21 carries, 174 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. I almost don't believe this stat. I almost believe that the Holy Cross stats people messed up. You don't throw for 300 and rush for 175 at Holy Cross. You don't, but it's a pretty fat stat. Fordham quarterback Tim Demarat, 19 for 38, 256 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. Don't you wow me. Don't you hack. Monmouth running back Jaden Sheridan, 19 carries, 211 yards, 3 touchdowns. Trifecta there. NCAA running back Bishul Tutton, 30 carries, 256 yards, 2 touchdowns. I know who's the kid that was Central Arkansas, the long snapper.
Wait.
And the one that tweets
Will Seiler.
Seiler. I know you were talking to me about Central Arkansas running back Darius Hale, who had 19 rushes, 255 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, Tutton beat him by a yard. Next up, Gardner Webb quarterback Bailey Fisher, 23 for 28, only 5 incompletions, Joe. That's why it's included. 356 yards, 5 touchdowns. He threw for 5 touchdowns. Zip it. ETSU running back.
No, I'm saying it's a stupid stat. That's crazy.
Oh, pardon me. I thought you called me stupid. It wouldn't
you
have
are
been the
stupid.
first time. Okay, yeah,
Bitch.
right on cue. ETSU running back Jacob Sailors, 22 carries, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns. That is an obese stat line. Lindenwood wide receiver Peyton Rose, 9 catches, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. St. Thomas wide receiver Andrew McElroy, 7 catches, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. If I included Devon Wells, I have to include McElroy. Almost identical stat lines there to the T. UT Martin running back Zach Wallace, 15 carries, 155 yards, 4 touchdowns, averaging 10 yards a clip. I'm sorry, you're getting included, and you have 4 touchdowns. Prairie View A&M quarterback Trezon Conley, 18 for 24, back-to-back appearances for Conley, by the way. 18 for 24, 220 yards passing, and then you had 24 carries, 133 yards, and 4 rushing touchdowns, over 300 yards from scrimmage, and 4 touchdowns on the ground. Joe's boy here, Southern Illinois quarterback Nick Baker, 34 for 48, 485 yards and 3 touchdowns. You eclipse 450. You're going to make it on fat stats. Incarnate Word running back Marcus Cooper closes out the list with 22 carries, 183 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Thank you.
Joseph, what's your selection?
My pick, I think it has to be. I don't want to give Holy Cross any credit, but Sluka, 4 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, 291 yards, 174 yards rushing. Like that's
we only see that out of the cat from Montana State. I'm going Jacob Sailors, 245 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. It's really impressive. It is. But that's fat stats. Someone start playing defense. I'm tired of going through my process and seeing, because I have to click on games that show 56-50. I have to, because there's going to be gaudy stats in there. I'm not clicking on a 10-7 game. I don't care. We need more 10-7 games, though.
What if somebody rushes for 400 yards but gets stopped at the goal line every single time?
Too damn bad. I'm not looking. I'll look through every game. I will. Every game that has at least 4 touchdowns scored for one team.
Okay. That's fair. Sean, I think that's good enough to wrap us up on. We will have preview show on Hack City on Wednesday, a preview show for FCS football on some point this week. That's about it. At Joe DeLeone, at Hater. Follow us on Twitter. Hack City. Hit subscribe. We'll be back. Drive safe.